we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Greg Hectus,
What up, guys?
Mason Stiver,
How we doing?
Tony Groves,
Good evening, gentlemen.
and special guest Craig Sykes.
Evening, all.
Well, thank you. Well, welcome, Craig. Thanks for joining us on the podcast tonight. Let's get to know a little bit about you. Now, we've actually already been getting to know you over the last couple of weeks. You've joined up with Tifosi Racing to help with the 24-hour race, and you're in the DP car with myself and Joe and Brent, Bobby, and Phil. And we've been doing a lot of practice for that. And you're our fastest driver in the car, obviously. And I welcome you for helping us with that. So let's get to know a little bit about you and your iRacing career. What brought you to iRacing in the first place, and how did you initially hear about it?
I can't remember really. I know I did a lot of
User
racing
in
on the
your channel
console
has
and
reported.
stuff, and basically like Gran Turismo and stuff like that. And then I think I saw it online somewhere. I just wanted a bit more of a challenge, so iRacing looked at it, and then I was hooked from there. I signed up straight away, and then ever since then it's been subscription after track after car, as you know it all goes.
All right. And well, how often are you racing, and what series are you running? Are you running an official or what?
I race as much and as often as I can, mainly oval side. I know that might be surprising for a UK guy, but that's what I like running is oval. Mainly NAS when that's running. Sometimes on the road. That's only like IMSA sometimes, man, and probably special events like obviously the Daytona 24 Hours Week and the rest of the 24-hour endurance races. But yeah, mainly oval. I love the Cup car. That's the main thing I run. And sometimes possibly the Xfinity and the trucks when they're at fun tracks.
All right, cool. NIS, you're probably like what, split 3, split 4?
Yeah, usually around there. I mean, I'm not one of those guys that likes to look at his iRate. I like to race. I just want to get out on the track and have a good
User
crack at it.
disconnected from your channel.
I don't really like to focus on the iRate because I think too many people on iRacing seem to focus on that and they get irate with themselves or other people, and it just spoils I don't know, just the overall fun of the sim, really.
Well, I mean, I was looking at your stats, and they're actually really good for Oval. Oval official career stats, your winning percentage 7%, with top 5 29%, laps led 11%. That is some great numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not shabby, I can hold my own, against most of the guys I run.
Well,
I mean,
I can see why you like the Oval.
yeah, I mean, when you come up against the guys, like the pros and stuff like that, they're on a completely different level. But, I don't even try and look up there. I run and race with who I am with. And if I win, I win. If I don't, as long as I have a good race, I'm happy.
All right. Well, tell us about any leagues or hosted or teams. You have anything you do that along those lines, or?
Yeah, I mean, I've dabbled in a few leagues. I think the first one I joined was the one called Somo League. And a guy called Paul Zota runs that. I ran that with a team called BGR that I ran with. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but a lot of drivers in that. That was good fun. Then I raced ECR. That's a pretty big league as well. And I think the most recent one was the BRL. Recently, when I came back to iRacing. And team-wise, I've only had like 3 teams. I think I'm not really a big team guy. I mean, I've done the whole thing, and it can just get on top of you, especially when you got team members that help you out, and then there's a lot of teams have a lot of walk caddies that just want to come in there, take setups, and people get wound up with each other, and it's just a headache. So I like to run on my own, help people out when I can, like yourselves. If someone wants or asks for my help, I'm always available. I don't know, I'm not the best, but I will help where I can.
All right. Well, yeah, we're happy to have you for the 24-hour
User in
DP
your
car.
channel is recording.
We're also running a Ferrari, and we've been getting ready for that. Tell us about your hardware setup as far as wheels and pedals, and how many monitors, what kind of third-party software.
My wheel is a G27 with the shifter and everything. My first wheel when I started iRacing was Xbox 360 pad. I ran that for 8 months, and I won a fair few races with that thing, believe it or not. And then, yeah, the wheel. My first wheel was a Driving Force GT that one of my buddies on the team sent me from America, called Levin Roush. He sent me his Driving Force GT from now. Yeah, so that was great for him. Then I went to a G920, and then I didn't like that. I went to the G27. And I only run one monitor. I've tried with the three, but it doesn't seem to help me go quicker or anything. So there's just no justifying having three monitors powered up.
All right. Keep it simple, right?
Yeah, I've got one TV. I can see pretty much what I need to, so I don't need to run three monitors up.
All right. And what's your most memorable iRacing moment?
Oof, Jesus, that's a good question, that one. I think it's got to be I won my first NAS at Watkins Glen, and I was using my Xbox 360 pad at the time. And it took me 2 days to get my phone back to work in order because it cramped up with about 10 laps to go. And none of my teammates at the time believed me. I had to send pictures and shit. So yeah, that was probably one of my highlights.
Well, absolutely. Well, very good. Yeah, thanks for coming on the podcast. You're certainly welcome anytime. Uh, let's get into it. But first, let's talk about OBRL, the Old Bastards Racing League. We had a 43 K&N Pro Cars show up for Monday's iRacers Lounge podcast National Series at Daytona. Patrick Scahill won the pole award and also led the most laps. Podcast superstar and iRacer Lounge co-host Tony Groves won the Hard Charger Award, gaining 32 spots. With a great racing finish of 7th, Douglas Hess ended up winning the restrictor plate race with Patrick Scahill finishing 2nd and professional podcaster Greg Hectus 3rd. The race only got 2 cautions and 14 lead changes. Greg moved into 2nd in points, 8 points out of the first place. The OBRL heads to Michigan next Monday for 75-lap battle. The race has been filling up in the first 5 minutes.
You want to go first,
Tony? It also says Chris Scales had a great race, qualifying 37th, finishing 9th, 2 spots shy of grabbing the Hard Charger Award. And then Justin Laird did not fare as well, finishing 30th.
Oh, you forgot to add in there, Chris, J.R. Scales, because he's rocking the number 8 now. Perfectly fitting.
Aha.
Yeah, it was. From my point of view, it was a pretty good race. Actually, Chris and I were stuck together practically the whole race, which is real nice. We were able to help each other out. It was where we normally race. We don't get to see too many nice long green flag runs, green flag pit stops, but that's what was happening there Monday night, and yeah, it was real good. Near the end we had the big one, and I just about got collected in it. I know I got in the back of somebody, but it wasn't enough to really slow me down. Unfortunately, I know he ended up spinning and getting into more trouble. But unfortunately, it was one of those deals. It's only just tapping him in the rear was about the best that I could do in that situation. But all in all, it was a really good race.
Yeah, good run. That's her first Hard Charger Award.
And
yeah.
I know. Oh, go ahead.
No, that was it. I was just agreeing. Yes, that was my first Hard Charger Award.
Well, we started that race. We all were talking, the 4 of us, that we were going to get together and kind of run away from it. But I did say at the beginning I'm going to go for the pole just to try and get that bonus point. And I just missed the pole by a 10th. Actually, 100th, sorry. and I ended up staying up front because I couldn't get out of where I was either. But it was a good race. I was up front the whole race for it, and I have to say thanks to Raging Cajun Jones. If he didn't let me down on the track to get onto pit road, I would have ran out of fuel on the first pit stop, and he didn't have to do it, but he let me in and kind of saved my race. So, but it was a good finish, and I pushed um, the winner there across the place, across Douglas across the line, past Patrick
User
on the
your
last,
channel is
or coming off
recording.
of 4, and just ended up pushing him all the way down the straight and pushed him across the line in front of Patrick. But I'll take it, and we'll move on to Michigan next week, which is just going to be another drafting race with those cars.
Yeah, looking good in the points. All right, let's keep moving. Let's get to topics. I got the first one. So you think you can drive? We had a forum post where in problems, Dale Peterson posted up. I can't figure out what's going on. I go into a practice and run laps around other cars. My times are not recorded. They're not showing in the entries or the results. And he just can't figure it out. And what turns out happening is he's using the beta UI, and somehow it was putting people in spectator mode. They think they're going into a regular practice, but it puts them in as a spectator, unbeknownst to them. And so they're running around like a ghost car, and they don't even realize it.
They can't cut a break with the beta, can they? They can never get one.
Well, I tell you what, I don't have a topic for it, but there's still a lot of beaten up on the beta UI going on in the forums. Everybody telling how slow it is, how bad it is, and the whole part where this new thing is not available on the website and it's only available in the beta UI is just really bugging a lot of people.
Yeah, I think they should just scrap the beta UI and focus on improving just the website. Because I think the website is like 3,000,000% better than the beta UI. It's clear, everyone's used to it. Just improve that a little bit and go from there instead of trying to add something else, and it's just not working.
Well, if they're going to have something else, it's got to be better, not worse. But yeah, that's all I'll say about that. There's a lot of hate out there for it. What's interesting about the beta UI topic is iRacing is silent about it. There's all this negativity towards it, and they're not defending it. They're not answering or replying to any of those posts. Now, they're all over the forums, so they can definitely see them, and they're purposely not replying to them. So it'll be interesting to see what iRacing's response to all this will be, about why and what. After 2 years, I mean, it doesn't feel like they've made progress. It feels like it's almost gotten worse. All right, Mason, what's a silent shifter?
Yeah, there's a topic up in the forums. Someone saying that there is no shifting sound in their Ford GT and other GT cars when they're racing, or actually the sound is very, very delayed of the shifting. And I mean, the shift works, but just the sound is so delayed. So David Tucker is working on it. They haven't been able to find a reliable way to reproduce the issue. So if you have that issue and can send over any information, David Tucker would be very appreciative. They've been working on it since early December, so hopefully they get that fixed.
Yeah, I don't think I've noticed it myself, but there's a lot of people on this thread that have.
Which is weird.
Have you guys heard of that?
Why would it be just one car? Like, you'd think it would be. I know the coding would be kind of the same, wouldn't you think, for sound? For click this button, this sound plays, right?
Play the gear shift change
Yeah.
sound, right?
But why can't they? Something else must be causing it, and it's not the simple just the code that writes, that goes for that, command. It's got to be something else that's causing it to lag that they can't find.
Yeah,
Yeah,
David Tucker said something to that effect where he said it makes sense if it's completely gone, but it being delayed is really bizarre, is basically what he said.
Yeah, it says it's like the sound system is holding on to the sound and not playing it, but it's not designed to do that. So, like I said, they're having trouble repeating the issue.
It may be something down to dropping the power in certain cars or upgrading the power in certain cars. Whether tweak the power output or something like that in the GTs. It might have just, I don't know, messed up with that bit.
All right, let's keep going. Tony Groves calling all iPacers.
Yeah, that's right. On the forums, there was an announcement for a new highlight reel they want to bring out called the Not Top 10 Highlights. And iRacing's looking for your videos. They're looking for replays of any funny moment. Did you spin out on the lead lap? Did you do a 360 and end up on pit road? Are you a streamer who ran headfirst into a rallycross tire stack? Someone say, let's have a nice clean start and then cause a 20-car pileup in turn one. Yeah, get those videos in. They don't want any weird physics bugs like cars launching into the stratosphere or anything like that. But these replays can be from any time, any year, practice, hosted, qualifying, basically wherever you can grab them from. And they're paying the payouts will be the same as the regular top 10. Everyone gets $10 in credits. Top 2 get 15 and $20 worth. You guys got those replays? I think I might have one or two.
We just had
around.
one before we started the recording. A teammate said he was going to win the race, and then he wrecked.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Well, he has
Sorry,
it on.
David Hall.
He streamed it, so we could probably submit it.
There you go. We got a video, right? Okay, so let's tell David Hall we got to enter him into this contest.
Yeah, that's right. We'll have to tell him to. He can email his replay file to alex.horn@iracing.com with the title "Not Top 10 January 2019." He'll be taking all the submissions until the 31st.
Okay. All right, Greg. More on the GTE BOP adjustments.
So, I think we talked about this last week where they added the extra kilograms to the Ford and the Ferrari. They left the Porsche alone. But this was found out later that it's not for the Daytona 24-hour race, but it was applied to the practice rooms and all the other stuff that we were doing in the middle of the week to get ready for the Daytona. And then I think was it the hosted sessions they didn't have it either, or was it applied? No, it wasn't applied in the hosted sessions. So it's thrown a whole bunch of curveballs to the people making up setups. But Tyler Hudson just said the reasoning behind it is he didn't really give he just explained why they did it, but it really didn't explain why they didn't do it for the 24-hour race, which has caused some people to wonder why they would just change it for
He's just saying it's
business
as usual.
Yeah, it's just the weird way that they handled that.
It's just a bad timing, I think. It's business as usual as far as the BOP. Okay, for the official IMSA series. That's what it was changed for. The Daytona 24 had nothing to do with it.
But it doesn't make any sense. It should have.
It should be a change in the 24. I agree, and so does a lot of people in the forums. But yeah, they don't really have a good response about why they decided to do that. But it is what it is. All right, I'm going to keep moving. Christopher Bell put up some high-res photos onto his Twitter of his helmet for this week's Chili Bowl, with his main sponsor, iRacing, prominently sponsored on the helmet. And boy, I tell you what, I think this is probably the coolest helmet I've ever seen. I just love it. I love the red, white, and blue.
You know what it kind of reminds me of what he did, if you see that black graphic where the helmet's facing backwards, it kind of reminds me of some of the designs that you can have in the iRacing helmets on their default ones.
It very well could be modeled after that. I don't know, but wow, it does look good.
Yeah, I love that helmet on my car in the sim.
And it really matches the car paint job too.
Well, and what they've done too is, the flat colors look really good, not high gloss. The flat is like really nice on it.
Yeah, and then Kyle Larson also twittered up some pictures of his rig for the Chili Bowl, and he's got iRacing as an associate sponsor with McDonald's as a primary. And so he's got the iRacing logo and name across the top of his car, and it looks pretty good. As an associate sponsor, it certainly is visible, and you can tell what it is, by a glance.
Does that mean, I guess with Jamie McMurray gone, this is kind of off topic, but I guess McDonald's has moved over to Kyle then?
I don't think so. I think McDonald's is gone. I haven't heard they're back. That's part of why probably McMurray's gone. It's because, you know, Kurt Busch is bringing in Monster. So, all right. Well, yeah. And then I saw a picture earlier today of Christopher Bell's iRacing Chili Bowl car with the iRacing paint job. And boy, it really looks great. Excited for him to hopefully win tonight. He already ran the first heat before the recording and won that heat. So he is on fire. Mason, Team Conti, Motec Workbook.
Yeah, so there's a post on the forum from Brandon Hastings, who is the crew chief for Michael Conti, one of our Peak Antifreeze Series drivers. He posted up a Motec workbook for those of you interested in telemetry, and this is pretty awesome that he's posting up his workbook that he was using up until it says July of 2018. So you can check out what they're doing. It's got some basic ride heights, stuff like that. So just basic things you need to be concerned with. Um, so yeah,
A good starting point if you're trying to get into Motec, right?
yeah, and he even gives you some instructions on how to install it. And I know he doesn't list that you need a telemetry capturing program, but other Motec programs I've used have used a program called MU to capture that telemetry and then put it in Motec. So that might be something you have to add depending on how he has his workbook set up.
Now he works in real NASCAR. He's on the I almost said Dave Blaney, but it's Ryan Blaney car, the 12 car. I think he's the interior guy. All right, let's keep moving. Greg, Crimson Simulations.
Now, I was just reading up on this before we started the podcast here, and man, I didn't even know that this was offered. Um, but so crimsonsimulations.com is a virtual racing club in North Carolina. So it's basically um, it's a place where you can go and rent rigs for blocks of a period of time, and you can race with your buddies. You can just fool around for a bit, or you can even do the serious side. You can actually go and book training lessons, driver's training for it. And I thought this was really cool because they've got really nice rigs set up for it, and I think it's like a good thing for like parties and things like that if you want to just go and have an experience, right? It's just like I think we were talking about there's VR things that you can do nowadays with going to places, but this is another option for it, and the pricing is actually not that bad if you look at it. They give a comparable kind of to renting um, cars in the real world to go test on a track, which is kind of unrealistic. But even go-karting, it's pretty comparable to a go-karting for a couple hours. So um, they offer memberships and everything. So anybody that's in the North Carolina area should really check that out. It looks like it would be a good time to have go and race with some buddies.
Yeah, Mooresville, North Carolina. There's one picture that shows a big room with 4 rigs with triples, at least 4. And so, yeah, it's like a party center. You go have your team event or your work party there, and you race each other, and you have a race, and yeah, it looks really cool. Pricing $75 an hour for driver training. If you're just doing racing experience, $60 an hour on the motion, or 40 on a static. Pretty cool. You've always seen or heard about, people thinking about doing businesses like this, or they get a simulator and they put it in an arcade or something like that. This is a little different. This is like the main attraction of this business. There's nothing else besides like what it appears to be a large room with, sim gear in it.
Where is this at?
Mooresville.
Hey, but like 4 hours from me. I might have to take a trip.
Yeah, check it out. It says 131 Cross Lake Park Drive, Unit B103. So, but their website, crimsonsimulation.com. All right, Tony Groves. Okay, we're skipping that. Brent.
So this past Sunday on the 13th, MSI Esports held an event out in Spain, and they tweeted iRacing on the 14th. And this event, it says they got some of the best sim racers in Spain to come to their location to have a chance to use the iRacing platform and a chance to compete to drive the Formula 3 car at, I'm probably going to butcher this, Circuit Jarama. I'll probably butchered that. With the winner coming out to be Jesus Cecilia, who won the tournament ahead of Ade Koba. So they got a video on Twitter if you want to check it out. It's connected to the iRacing Twitter page.
Pretty cool. I mean, Spain is always big on their sim racing, don't you think? I mean, they have this whole event, similar to what we've seen that happen in Europe. You don't see this in the U.S. much. Pretty cool. All right, I got the next one, where the rubber meets the road. Okay, this might be the big story of the week, but basically, they're going to make a change to the oval cars on the tire. They're going to revert the change that they made several weeks ago, a couple months ago, where they changed, or they doubled the effectiveness of the temperature of the tire. They're basically going to revert it back to where it was before the last change a couple months ago on the oval cars only. So here's how it's very confusing. So a couple months ago, they made that change where they doubled it on all the cars, everything. Then last week, they made a change specifically to the Porsche car tire. Then this week, today, they changed all the oval cars back to the way they were before that change 2 months ago. But they left the road cars with the change that was made 2 months ago. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's what I thought. But that's really the lowdown of what happened here this week. So iRacing made the announcement, hey, this is going to happen. Now we have a few posts here. Let me see what the other one says here. The NASCAR season starts before the March build, so we want the dynamic tracks working before then. Thus, the reason for the change now rather than wait until March. Whether the new tire model, version 7, makes March or not, I do not know. That's what Tyler said. And then there's another thing that clarifies about this. It says the issue is not in how the track it heats up from the cars, the sun, etc. So adjusting all of that for the sensitivity change is not a good road to go down. Version 7 is very close. Really? This is an oval issue because it has halted the dynamic surface from working to its full potential. We can either leave it until version 7 or revert back and have multi-groove racing again. The decision to keep the dynamic track working as it should. So basically, when they made that tire change a couple months ago, the dynamic track stuff kind of stopped working. We only saw single grooves. Remember, we heard from the short track guys last week that said it ruined the racing. And so this is in response to that, I think.
So am I understanding this right? How I see it is with that last change they made, they just gave the cars too much grip. So now they're taking some of that grip away, so we can move around the track and not everybody's just stuck on the bottom.
Yeah, they're putting it back to the way it was before just early December when we ran the full NIS season. It's back to the way it was then.
So
Okay.
it's like when Goodyear brings a soft tire compared to a harder tire. We got the hard tire now back.
Yeah, we got the tire that will allow us to have multiple groove racing. That's the way I understand it. Right
Which
now,
is
we're
what
not
we want,
having
right?
multiple groove racing because of that tire change they made a couple months ago.
Which is what everybody wants, correct?
Right, so it's just a temporary fix until V7. Now, we've had a couple notes here. One quote was V7 is very close. Then another quote was, do not know if it will make the March or not. I do not know. And so there's a couple things that kind of allude to it's really coming close soon.
Hashtag sooner.
Right, sooner. I'm just glad that they decided to do it before the 500, the Daytona 500. We don't want to do these kind of changes in the middle. I have no problem with them switching to V7 on the March build. Let's do it. But these kind of, Band-Aid fixes that they're doing, they need to do that before the 500.
Well, it's kind of just like what they did, but just this week before the 24-hour too, right? Like it's they got to figure this stuff out before major things that people put a lot of time into, right?
Yeah, but the difference this week is they didn't make the change to the 24. They didn't actually let it affect it. They probably should have. I don't know. All right, Greg, you got the next one. Loading failed. I think David Hall had this. Or no, John Hammer had this too.
Yeah. So the first part, I'm just coming. So it was Corey M. Budnot. Sorry if I butchered your name there, Corey. He posted that 3 times he tried to get into sessions and it failed. And it wouldn't. The only time it would actually let it load in, the solution that he had was go into the graphics configuration and reconfigure everything, and it went load up. So then, trying to bring it back to this page here. Nicholas Bailey is posted. It looks like the app is having an issue connecting to the Easy Anti-Cheat server. So they're still investigating it. So that we've had a bunch of things come up with that Easy Anti-Cheat stuff, right? So like that have been causing problems for people to do what they need to do in here. But they also posted, Nicholas Bailey posted also that they're having troubles duplicating it. So they're thinking it's not happening all the time. They haven't been able to reproduce in the last little while. So, but if anybody has had a problem with it, to let them know. And it looks like John Hammer and his Pro Series driver almost missed the pro race due to this failure. So this they got to figure out what the problem is.
Some kind of connection to some separate server for that cheating thing.
So it's
I know I had that problem a while back, but it was under the IV6. I cut that off, and then I haven't had an issue since.
All right, so yeah, I don't know if that's still an issue or not. I haven't experienced it, but people have, so it is intermittent, I guess.
Yeah, I know a lot of people since the last major build have been having like a lot of issues with like screen freezing and getting kicked off on black screen and stuff. I don't know whether that's connected to stuff, but it just seems unstable a lot of times for a lot of people. Whether that's something to do with the anti-cheat at the same time or it's a completely different issue, but I know a lot of people have been complaining about that as well.
it's got to be pretty hard to write coding for this and then have the anti-cheat, operational, but also not thinking that everybody's cheating depending on what it is. Like, because if it just flags something, it automatically turns it off, right?
Yeah, it won't load you. All right, let's keep moving. Tony Groves, AI testing.
Yeah, there's actually quite a big forum post, like 4 pages worth about the AI stuff, and this one in particular had some of the staff guys testing it out, practicing with it, playing around, and looked like they were able to do some, kind of neat things. Jason Breifogel decided to see how many classes of cars he could fit on one track at one time, and I guess at Lime Rock he got 21 different cars to load up.
Whoa.
Yeah, 14 at the Nürburgring. But he says that the sim will still only support 7 classes for scoring, so I don't quite understand what that means. If he got all those cars on there, but maybe they just lumped some of the cars and said they were just a different class
They
than
can
what they
race,
actually were.
but can't be scored, or
Something along those lines. But that's that's kind of neat, for sure. But
do I even own 21 cars?
I know I sure don't.
I know
But,
that's a lot when you think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I guess that that could be kind of neat. Throw
That
up
would
like
be
a whole
cool,
bunch
and
of cars
put
and see
them in
what you can
order
do.
of fastest to slowest when you start them.
Yeah, put the slow guys up front and watch the
Watch
hilarity.
the carnage.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody had asked if they could expect this for official races or just for local AI races. So, I mean, that just kind of makes sense. It is for only like local AI races when it does come out, which I think is probably appropriate. It'd get a little silly if not.
Yeah, you can't be with your buddies and have AI with you. That doesn't work that way. You're going to be by yourself with AI. I'm looking forward to it. I'd love to try the 21 car thing and see just how it goes. And it'd be just fun to have experiments like that. Okay, let's put all the 21 cars, slowest to fastest on whatever track, and run them 10 laps and see who wins.
I can do it.
And what other experiments would you try in AI? I mean, it's going to be very interesting. Once it comes out.
There's a lot of possibilities with it because, I'm looking forward to it just as a fact of just testing with something else on the track instead of just doing logging laps by myself, especially in the middle of the night or something.
Right. Like you're never going to do a lap by yourself anymore with this. I won't. I would get into AI for sure rather than run by myself.
Now, how many of you guys would actually try, either go in the if you're on your own session and stuff, going the opposite way, wrecking them, spinning them?
That would be about the second thing I did.
Would it be against the sporting code to spin an AI car?
Will the AI protest you?
That's a good question. I don't know if I've had an answer on that one.
The easy anti-cheat thing will go on. It'll disable the sim.
Alt
AI
F4.
demo derby.
That'll disqualify you.
Well, interesting. All right, Mason, alpha testing, now recruiting. Wow.
Yep, this is your chance. Chris Widener of the iRacing staff is posting up that they're in need of some good folks willing to devote some time to alpha testing, specifically on test nights Monday and Wednesday evenings. It's being in the Eastern Central Time Zone is a plus, but if you're outside of that and can attend test nights, that works too. Listed below requirements: spend a couple hours a week testing, short posts on the Alpha forum of any feedback, bugs, ideas, basic computer skills, install, move, edit files, patience. Some of us don't have patience. Things go wrong in testing, so you got to be patient, and you must be a current iRacing member and have a non-disclosure agreement. There's an email address here: alpha_testers@iracing.com. And what car do you race the most, have interest in, and could give good feedback on. So check out that post by Chris Widener if you want to help test iRacing.
So
Cool.
they'll get like 1 million emails about the A car, oval car, and then some cars they won't have anybody.
Well, it is pretty interesting. If I wasn't doing anything on those days, I might be interested. Be a neat opportunity to get involved.
It'd be interesting to, obviously because you have a non-disclosure, you can't do anything with it, but, log what, like, you know, have like a showing of what goes into all that stuff where you're testing and what can go wrong and then what, it would be nice to see that background part of it.
Yeah. Well, NDA. All right, Tony Groves, season 1, patch 3.
Oh, here I got my name beside it and everything, and I still don't have it up and ready to go. How do you like that?
Well, we already talked about it. It's the tires. They changed the tires back on the oval car, like we
Right.
discussed.
Yeah. So that's old news. Um, make multi-lane racing more viable and competitive. Yada yada. They've done some stuff with the pit stops. Fixed an issue where drivers could get stuck in the pits when having a damaged wing with the Dallara DW12 or the Dallara 2011. And they also fixed an issue where the pit crew would continually turn the car off during lengthy repairs, even when the driver was trying to turn it back on. Those bastards.
No.
And looks like we got an update for the Porsche 911 RSR. Adjustments have been made to several vehicle paint schemes. So it looks just a small one, but the tires was the big one for that.
I just like that fix about where the picker just turns the car off. It's just such a funny glitch to have.
Yeah, you can imagine one of the NASCAR drivers trying to turn his car on. Room, some guy just stood at the window, just keeps turning it off, just to annoy him.
You're putting on the serpentine belt. Why are you turning it on? All right, Greg, a Porsche video.
So, just playing this for our viewers here. So the Porsche iRacers World Championship Series had an announcement and ends up being a video that they've posted up here. It's a great video that shows the GTE car, Porsche GT. It looks like at the Glen. There looks like an image of Interlagos there, Bathurst, and it's a well done video, and it looks like it's going to be a fun series to be racing in. $100,000 on the line. That's got to get everybody up and on the wheel of the race there. So I don't know. What do you guys think of the video?
Oh, as usual, Drew Adamson does fabulous on these videos. I mean, they just are fun to watch. They really draw you in, make you want to go race that car, make you want to go for the 100K. Yeah, I was very impressed with it.
Yeah, I thought it was really good too. I really enjoyed it.
They got to promote it, man. 100K is a big deal. So expect more of this as it goes. You kind of expect these kind of things. All right, I got the next one, Chili Bowl related. Kevin Swindell twittered out that he noticed that the winner from Monday night's Chili Bowl, Logan Seavey, during his winner's lane interview, mentioned strength of field. And of course, strength of field is an iRacing term. I don't think that's a real racing term, so to speak. And so he thought that was kind of funny, and he put that on Twitter. And yeah, I picked up on that. But yeah, when the winner's talking about, I did pretty good out there and won it. It was not a high strength of field, and we got it done or something like that. All right, pretty cool. Greg, a 1989 Cup car.
Now, we were really we were talking about this in the message here. I'm trying to bring up the image for the viewers. It brings back some, I don't know if any of you guys, as soon as I saw that car, I thought of, Days of Thunder and the older, back. This car is obviously, I was 2 when this car was racing, so I don't remember this probably for much, but I do remember the Luminas back in the day. So it's an Earnhardt, it's a chassis that's built and purchased from Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. The engine's from Richard Childress. It still has the original tires. It's in pristine condition from a couple scuff marks. the reason that this was brought up was someone created a petition for, they want to bring this and scan this for iRacing, and I guess it's on change.org. When we talked about this in the discussion, what do you think about going back to something like this, older type car and bringing it into iRacing?
Well,
I've
you
never
got to think
signed.
iRacing going to use this as a revenue stream. Once they do release all the current race cars of the world, what are they going to do next? They're going to have to go backwards in time and do historical race cars. And so I think a lot of people have been asking for historical race cars, and we do have some in the sim. If you think about it, we have that um, Lotus car, the open wheel Lotus.
I think the only reason we have that Lotus car is it's grandfathered in because of their Grand Prix
Grand Prix Legend.
Legends.
Yeah. But this would be cool. I mean, I would race it. I have fun racing the older, K&N car, which is the old Cup car. As we go to a V7 car in NASCAR, we're going to have all these other versions, and this would be a version. This is V2 or V3 or something,
Yeah, I've never signed a petition as quick in my life, man. It came up on Facebook. I saw the picture of the cat, and I thought, yep, I'll sign that. It's like I said, it's a nostalgic thing. Plus the Days of Thunder as well. As soon as I saw it, I thought I want to race that car in iRacing.
Would you guys race it over like the A car though?
No.
It depends on what, how they would use it effectively, right? Like, the A car is always going to be the popular one, but maybe they could have a fun series with it.
Yeah, that's it. A fun series. Yeah.
You just need to get the physics of what Tom Cruise had for Days of Thunder and how easy it was to pass at Daytona.
Or you have a specific league for that kind of car or something like that.
Well, you could pass so easily in Days of Thunder because he had like 10 gears.
He's dropping the hammer.
Slamming in the forest. Now, if you click the link on the change.org and then you click the other link, that'll take you to NBCSports.com story. And if you scroll down, you'll get a side picture of the car, which is much more telling about the style. So check that out.
So if you're looking at here, this car, Bobby Hillin Jr. drove this. Is that what it is?
Yep, and John Paul Jr.
And it only ran 4 races in '91.
But it's a neat opportunity. The problem with iRacing scanning it is several things. Who do they have to get rights from for the sponsors that are listed on the car, the manufacturer, the owner, the previous owner, the drivers that are listed? I mean, all these different entities have to give some kind of legal, release to iRacing to be able to scan and use a car like this. And so I see sponsors on here called Max Race Cards. Do they even exist anymore? And so those are the kind of legal battles that would have to happen.
Well, and I'm guessing that's, probably an Irish brand. Obviously, if you look at all these, there's a lot of things for Ireland there on it. The other thing is, looking at this car, what do you guys think of, obviously they've gone so technologically advanced with with the new Cup cars and then whatever they do with the version 7 of the Cup car. But this is back in the era where they actually seem to use the bodies more off of an actual car, and it looked a lot like I really enjoyed watching this type of body style out racing where it doesn't have a splitter and it doesn't have, this car probably has half the downforce.
Yeah, all the under stuff is gone. Yeah, I mean, the thing is up off the pavement. There's, like you said, no splitter. I mean, and no side skirts, and nothing's like rubbing the pavement. That looks so odd, but that's really what they need to get back to.
Yeah, downforce ruins racing, man. I mean, it's good to go fast around the track and doing a one-lap thing on your own, but once you get cars together, downforce doesn't like it. Like I said, those early cars, when it was just all about, mechanical grip, the racing was a million times better than it is today. In any series like the Formula 1 to NASCAR, the downforce is killing it.
Just one last comment about this. Reading the article, it's funny. They said someone was restoring the car and took it out on the original tires. So they're
Okay.
still good after what, 30-some years?
Well,
Those good years are good, huh?
they're good to an extent. I'm sure if you put it high load on a
Put it up to
banking, it
speed,
probably it wouldn't.
Oh yeah, they said it was crap driving, but
All right, let's keep moving. I got Netgear router update. Nicholas Bailey gave us an update to a story that we've been following for a very long time, that he's been trying to get Netgear to take some responsibility for their routers dropping UDP packets because of their software or um, that they have installed on these routers. And so he did have a successful meeting with Netgear on Monday evening where they were able to reproduce the issue repeatedly and found that the router was having trouble continuing to initiate those UDP sessions on the LAN side. And once that happens, it starts dropping the UDP packets. And so either way, it looks like progress was made, but no solution as of yet. But at least they know they have a problem. All right, Mason, 2019 Bathurst 12-hour.
yep, we got the Bathurst 12-hour coming up after our 24 hours of Daytona. The Bathurst 12-hour is on February 8th/9th, depending on where you live. There's a time slot at Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and a second one on Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. It's the Mount Panorama Circuit. We have the starting time, the sim start time of 4:30 a.m. and warm up 30 minutes. Qualifying is again attached and solo. The team event. The incident limit has not been determined yet. Field size of 55, and it is the GT3 cars, the Audi R8, the Mercedes AMG, Ferrari 488 GT3, BMW Z4, McLaren, and Porsche 911. Any of you guys going to run it?
No, but I wonder why the field size is 55 instead of 50 like they did on Daytona.
Well, Bathurst is a lot bigger track too. The Mount Panama is a huge track. The other thing
I
is,
own the track, but yeah, I don't typically run this race.
that's a really fun track, but I like doing it in the when they do the Bathurst 1000, or is it the Bathurst 1000? Whatever for the I always forget the title of it, but the V8 supercars when they do that event.
Now this track isn't lit, and we have day-night transitions, and it's a 12-hour race. So that means they're going to be driving in the dark, right?
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. Yeah.
Well, it's set at 4:30 a.m. So I'm wondering in Australia, or not, is it Australia where they're from? Yeah. Anyways, it's it would be, I think the sun would be rising by then.
Well, I've done some testing at Le Mans in the dark where there's no lights on the track, and it's super, super, super hard. And so I don't know if it's going to be, black for any part of this race, but if it is, have fun. Going up and down that mountain in the dark, boy, that would be fun. I got to try that.
The other thing is I hope if they do put an incident limit here, they stick by it this time and not, get in a reasonable incident limit and stick with it.
All right, Greg, you got the next one. GT Pro Q Series rules clarifications. This is the team series for GT cars.
So I guess they've updated, they've gotten some, they're just trying to finalize some rules, I guess, here before that starts, right? So I'm just reading through this here. So,
the problem is everyone thought that you could have multiple people on your iRacing team, but only so many people in a car. Okay, so like for example, we have a Team Tifosi iRacing team on our website, and I had all 18 of us listed on it, right? but only 5 of us are going to run the 24 hour. The other guys aren't going to enter our room and go into our car. So that's the way they've done it in the past. Now they're clarifying a rule that says no, that team on the website cannot have more than 4 drivers. Okay, if you have all 18 listed there, you're out, DQ'd out.
This is, I think, because the VRS GT Endurance Qualifying Series is what David and I run every. I think that's a 2-week series that we've been running to try and
Right.
qualify.
Right. So if you're the car that you've been entering the race with has more than 4 people on it, you're out.
Oh, you mean registered right now? Like, because I think we've linked it with all the people for Daytona have linked into
Right.
that
So
car.
you just screwed yourself from getting into the Pro Series because of that.
We ain't getting in the Pro Series, so I'm not worried about it.
I know, but that's what the uproar is about. And so apparently in the past that has not been the case. Tyler seems to reiterate that these are the rules that they've always been. It's never been, he hasn't changed the rules. These are the rules that have been published in the past, but apparently, there's a problem with that. Then there's also some question about you're able to change cars. And so they did that BOP adjustment, and some people are changing cars, and people didn't like that, but apparently it is in the rules that you're allowed to change cars.
Well, they're probably changing cars in that too, because some cars are better than others. Like you can kind of have the right car for the right track for each time you try and race it.
Okay. I think the big story of the week, I'll call it NASCAR. And this is a big story, guys. So and everything in the article that iRacing put out just today, a couple hours ago, is very pertinent and important. I think we're going to cover most of it. So let me start reading it here. In the 10th season, the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series will see several exciting changes to the only official sanctioned NASCAR esports series. For the first time, official teams, both motorsports organizations and professional esports teams, will join the series in the upcoming season. Several high-profile teams have already committed to the series, including JR Motorsports, Joe Gibbs Racing, Wood Brothers Racing, Clint Boyer Racing, Williams Esports, Richmond Raceway Esports, G2 Esports, Flipside 3 Tactics, and Team Renegades, with more expected to join in the coming days. The teams will participate in a driver's draft on January 30th, where they will select drivers to represent them in the 2019 season. All of these organizations have shown a genuine interest and commitment to esports and are excited about the upcoming season. And boy, what do you think? This is a big news, guys. Joe Gibbs Racing, Wood Brothers.
What is
So,
this? Oh, go ahead, Tony.
Sorry, Greg, but yeah, every there seemed to be a little bit of like an uproar about what they were thinking the NASCAR heat push, and getting people to do their qualifying on that, and they were saying, "Where's the love for iRacing? This is obviously the better one. Here it is." And I know a couple months back, maybe a month back, iRacing said they had some big announcements. Well, they brought out with the new purses, like the $100,000 rewards. Well, I thought that was big, which it is obviously, but I got to think this is a bit bigger than that, because this just just pushes everything to that very much the next level. Like it's here. This is what's happening.
I think that's what they were actually talking about too, Tony. Maybe we assumed it might have been the 100,000 was the announcement, which is probably a portion of it, but this is the announcement that he was probably iterating when the backlash was for NASCAR heat.
They had to, there's a lot to it. You got to get paperwork done, and sign up, and get people to pay, and all this different stuff to get these teams involved. And wow, it's very impressive. I got a quote here from none other than Mr. Dale Jr., He said, I've been sim racing for more than 20 years, so it goes without saying I'm excited to see NASCAR and iRacing working to further legitimize sim racing as a true esport. Expanding the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing series to include teams like ours is a huge step forward. JRM has worked behind the scenes with iRacing for years on the technical side of the product as well, and having as having an unofficial entry in the series going back to 2009. We are looking forward to JR Motorsports continuing collaboration with iRacing to help promote this series in 2019 and beyond.
All I want to know is how this is going to feed down to the small guys like ourselves and people that are racing this sim every day. I mean, yeah, it's big news and stuff like that, but it's just, in my eyes, it's going to the more elitist way. It's going to make this series even less accessible for anybody who's aspiring to be a pro or wanting to go that way.
Yeah, I don't think it affects you, but I think it affects is overall participation. This is going to drive it, and it's going to increase it, and it's going to double it.
I don't see. I think I know what Craig's trying to talk about there. He's saying that if this gets to a point where it stops being a qualification series and it starts being a driver draft, like they're kind of promoting it to be, eventually it might not matter what your rating is. This might be a thing where you're handpicking drivers to be moved into the peak. And is that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to money and sponsorship, and we've all seen how that goes in the motorsport. It's like, it's going to be, for anybody who's going to be wanting to try and get into that series, it's now going to be nigh on impossible unless you can prove that you are better than some of the low running riders in that thing, or you're as good as a Ray Alfaro or a Conti or any of the other guys that race in that sim. And if you can't do that, and if you're not given a chance to do that, you're never going to get in there.
Now, let's talk about the draft a little bit. I mean, the first thing that came to mind is what happens to the existing teams that all these peak guys are on and the way they're organized now with their own teammates when they go and get drafted and this teammate gets drafted onto this NASCAR team and this teammate gets drafted onto a different one. Do they work together when they're not in the sim, still like they did in the past? Do they abandon their old teams and now they have these other teams they have to organize? It's all very confusing.
Well, like from what you're saying there, one of the big problems could be the VRS crew, right? So you got, Ray Alfala, he gets drafted to one team and then,
Yeah, Keegan
uh,
Liga to another.
yeah, and does that mean the VRS could have to maybe find new drivers to do all their stuff on VRS because there might be an obligation where they can't do that anymore?
Well, I did hit up Logan Clampett, who is a peak driver, on Facebook for a quote, and I asked him, "How does this affect your team? Is this only in name, this new draft, to these other teams?" And here's what he said. He said, "Quote: We will be representing the NASCAR esports teams. We will still work together with our own teams right now."
So, in other words, every team that's worked the last 10 years in the Peak Antifreeze series have just been dissolved by these bigger brands. And thanks for your help, but, get lost. These guys
I
won't
don't
be
know.
around.
It kind of sounds that way, but Logan's quote isn't very clear about it.
Well, what could happen? Like maybe they're dipping their toes in now where, okay, we're gonna get a driver, let him do what he was doing, and then if there's this point where they can see they invest a little money and maybe they have their own person to work with that driver to make them fast to, win this money or if the sponsors start picking up, that's where the thing could change, right? Where he can't be part of a team. He's just got maybe his own crew chief that the team assigns to him that works with iRacing or something like works with the telemetry and stuff like that.
And that's what I was going to go with is what is the team's involvement going to be? I'm just curious. I know none of us are going to have the answer, but I'm curious to see what the team's involvement is going to be.
Like a Joe Gibbs Racing or a Woods Brothers Racing.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if the success in the real NASCAR series for like Joe Gibbs is the same in the Peak series.
Well, the other thing is okay, if they are putting their name on it, at some point, if they want to see results, and there's actually, the sponsors do pick up on this. Does that mean they start off, helping these drivers with something? So like equipment and time or something like availability to test somewhere else or things like that, right?
Who knows? Joe Gibbs Racing is known to
Yes.
spend money.
I think
Yeah.
this should have been a separate thing altogether from the Peak Antifreeze series myself. The Peak Antifreeze series has got its own little history going on, and for the teams that have been there and built it to what it is today, and then for them to completely go the other way and then get pushed out, I think this should have been like a different series, and they should have said to the pro drivers, you can have a go and run this series, or and then stay with the pro series that's been going on. But to me, I just think it's the wrong way they've gone about it.
Well, it is a late announcement. I mean, we're about ready to go to season. Maybe this is how they have to do it for this year. And then maybe going into the next year, we have a full 12 months to figure all this out. And how do the teams, sort themselves out? You would think that next year they would prefer it to be like, okay, this is Joe Gibbs Racing, and it is, Ray Alfala and Keegan Leahy and so, and they're Joe Gibbs Racing. And there is no other, VRS or whatever. And so by then, it'd be like charters, you have different esports teams and they have so many drivers and, they get, promoted in or whatever, signed up. I mean, I don't know. It's very new. This only was dropped on us a couple hours before recording. And so there's not a lot of answers.
This is what we wanted, right? We wanted
Yeah.
companies to bring in, wanted sponsorship opportunities, money be invested
Yeah,
in
you would-
iRacing.
You would think that Joe Gibbs Racing is paying money to be involved. Absolutely. Who are they paying? I don't know.
And one last little cool bit of the story was Jonas Jerebko, an NBA player, owns Team Renegades, and he's excited for them to be participating in the Peak Antifreeze series.
Yes, that's the other thing. It's not just NASCAR teams. We got Williams, which is a Formula One team, guys. They have a team in this now. And we have a quote from Claire Williams, who's the team principal over at Williams Formula One. She says, to be invited to join the Peak Series shows the progress we have made since launching our esports program last season. Our Formula One team has enjoyed great success in North America, and we're eager to replicate that success by now expanding to our sim racing team in the United States.
Well, and there's been some talks about, Williams has they're on a rocky edge in F1, so maybe they're looking somewhere else for something. I mean, Williams is a predominant name too in F1, so maybe they're they're reaching out maybe into trying to get North American interest too, right?
Yeah, and then shortly after the announcement, Tony Gardner posted in the forums, more teams coming that are not in this announcement. Another significant NASCAR team just signed. And my thought was, as soon as I saw the list, is where is Richard Childress Racing? Where is Penske Racing? Where is Stuart Haas? These guys are not going to miss out on this. I bet you they'll all get involved.
Yeah, I would say Richard Childress and probably even Hendrick Motorsports, because of having William Byron, might be more likely ones, like the first couple ones to be in there. I don't know how much Penske's ever involved in it, right?
Well, how about Stuart Haas? Because, well, hell, Stuart races on this.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's probably up for it too, right?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Of course, jrmracing.com has an article already up about this on their website at JRM Motorsports or JR Motorsports about their new team in the NASCAR iRacing series. So pretty cool. Big news. There's a tweet from Wood Brothers Racing. They said, really excited to be part of this. Nothing, and I do mean nothing, comes close to the realism and real world, whatever you call it, as iRacing does, and that is a fact. Wood Brothers, can you imagine being a sim driver for Wood Brothers Racing? This blows me away. All right, Tony Groves, Trading Paints updated.
Yeah, nice quick one. they just released an update to fix an issue where paints weren't showing in multi-class sessions. It's up available for download, and if you're having those problems, this should fix it.
They did the same update type thing right around the 24 hours of Le Mans, so it's basically something that keeps popping up after builds and stuff.
All right, Greg, the warp before the 24.
David's not here to talk about it, but we hosted a session on Sunday afternoon just kind of simulate the conditions for the Daytona 24-hour race, and invite some of our fans and anybody that wanted to race with us for what was it, 3 hours and 20 minutes, I think, and it was a pretty good turnout. I think we filled the room. Not everybody stayed, but
I didn't stay the whole time.
neither did I. But
It was a long 3 hours.
I just wanted to get through. It was nice to have the transition from day to night and all that stuff. We all had a blast out there. There was we took a nice picture as a team. Posted up on the Tifosi page. It was nice just to see all the cars sitting out at the end of pit road there. I know we had a lot of people commenting, what are all the cars doing out there? But it was good to see all the guys in a room together and do this.
Yeah. Yep, that was fun to participate in. Next up, we're hiring. We're not hiring. We're looking for people to join us at Tifosi Racing, and we need a social media manager. We also need a league manager. And so if you want to run with us, hop in before NIS starts. Hit up Greg or I and let us know. Let's jump into hardware software. Mason, 8040 rig build.
Yeah, I was looking at this one. It's iRacing user Louis Cannell. He's in the UK, and he built an 8040 rig. It says for 350 pounds. So, Craig, is that a good price?
Yeah, it's decent one.
Yeah.
350 pounds is what, $500 maybe, something like that.
Yeah. What's
Yeah,
neat
so-
is he's got the parts list for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm looking at it now. It looks a decent rig as well. And it looks sturdy and stuff.
Yeah, he's got it all spelled out on here, and I was curious, is 8040 a thing over there? Because I had thought I'd only heard of 8020.
Yeah, I don't think we do much 80/40 in the UK. I think it's mainly 80/20, like you say. So I haven't seen much of that about in like the wholesale stores and stuff that we have over here.
I guess you probably could use 80/20 and use these dimensions, could you not?
Right.
Yeah, there's probably just a few little differences here and there, obviously with the joints and stuff. But yeah, 80/20 would probably do the same job, just probably not as sturdy.
But yeah, he's got the triple monitor
User
stand there.
disconnected from your
He's
channel.
got the place for the computer, got a place for the pedals, and a nice little adjustable seat, it looks like. So it's all there for you. Go ahead and build away.
Yeah, parts list and a diagram, and yeah, if you're looking for something that you want to steal off of an idea, there you go.
This is absolutely kind of silly, but I found this kind of neat on the drawing. The monitors all still have their tabletop
Base.
stands. Yeah.
Yeah, he like drag and dropped them in there, kind of thing. Like you can pick objects and drop them in there, like desktop computer, and you just set it there.
But he's kind of got something going there. It's like, man, you don't, and hey, me being cheap and all that, you don't have to spend money on a mount for the back of your monitor. Just slap it on top and rock and roll.
There you go. All right, Simcraft, Greg, we got a message from a reader about about last week.
Okay, so looks like is that Mark Kaufman? He sent us a link to this site, Simcraft. Anyway, so what it was is we were talking about high price rigs last week, and he told us to check out www.simcraft.com, and they have a really solid rig. I guess we were talking about this back in December, but I guess they wouldn't let anybody try these rigs unless they were serious about buying them. So checking the price, I guess it's a reasonable $75,000. It's also have one that's probably going to be over 100 grand. So I don't know. It's just me, or these get more expensive every week that we keep looking at stuff.
Well, we've looked at this one before. I think you're just reminding us about it. But yeah, this is very high end.
Okay.
You're basically a full roll. Like the only thing that's missing is the shell of a car.
Got a roll cage almost, right? Yeah, it's crazy. The whole thing moves. I mean, it's got full motion, like the left to right twist, the traction loss, the up and down, the dip, the roll, the yaw, everything. So it's the full thing. Their website is simcraft.com. Incidentally, Paul Tracy, who's the famous Canadian IndyCar driver, he tweeted up, sorry, no, Instagram, some video of him at the Barrett Jackson auction in Scottsdale, where he ran out there at the Barrett Jackson. He lives in Scottsdale to run the SimCraft cockpit that they have set up at Barrett Jackson. And so they actually have a cockpit there that you can jump in and try. And if you're serious, I guess, about buying one, or I guess if you're Paul Tracy.
I don't even know if he has 100 grand anymore.
I mean, can't you get like a race car and have to go racing for that price?
The only thing that I really, I don't know who that rim's by, but that's a really nice rim and dash that it has on it.
That base, the wheelbase is huge. Yeah, it's like, what?
I'm guessing it's direct drive. It's in behind. It looks like it's those direct drives with that drive shaft.
Built in a box or something. Yeah, it's a very interesting simulator. All right, Brent, let's keep moving. Xtal VR headset.
Company in overseas is making a new VR headset, and it looks pretty nice from what I can see. The design, exterior design, is extremely kind of has that futuristic look to it. But I'm assuming it's a pretty hefty price, starting at about 4,900 euros. But the resolution is 5120 by 1440 total, which equates to about 2560 per eye. It includes 2 quad HD high density OLED displays, 180 degrees frame of view, auto eye, which they claim is the world's first automated IPD system. Not sure exactly what that means, but it also has a X-Tall detects your eyes and automatically adjusts the lenses for optical image quality and VR experience, which is great. They say if you need to switch between users often. The embedded new Leap Motion hand tracking sensors will allow the user to interact with the VR scene naturally with their own hands. So if you're into looking to spend some good amount of money on a high-priced VR, which hopefully will hold up well, this is probably a good place to start. Again, they have a website. It's called VR Gineers, GINEERS.com. Just look up XTAL, XTAL.
XTAL, yeah. Yeah, I thought I heard about all the different VR headsets until I saw this one and the next one. But yeah, this is a new one to me. It is high end. I mean, 180 degree FOV and a 5K resolution. Boy, that is high end.
Yeah, it says it's ready to work on your desktop or in a VR setup the size of a football field.
All right, I got the next story, and this is another new VR headset. This one is called Star VR. StarVR.com is the website. Currently, there's no disclosed price or availability, but they expect it to be north of $2,000. The company has taken the new Star VR1 to new heights, offering a 210-degree field of view, something that honestly seemed impossible before. FOV with no screen door effect. They claim a resolution of 16 million subpixels, which puts the resolution just above 5K. What do you think of this one, guys? This is another new VR.
They're definitely coming out with, there's all these companies trying to take advantage of it, but I don't know, do you really, $2,000 is a lot to spend on something, you know, on a company that doesn't have a background behind it either, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, somebody in iRacing will buy one of these, and we'll know. But what's
It's,
interesting, I thought, was the 210-degree FOV. How are you more than 180? I don't get it.
I mean, can you turn your head that far around?
Right, that's what I'm kind of like. Can you're looking behind you or what? I don't know. All right, let's keep going. Tony Groves, thrown us.
Yeah, this one's a little different. It's not necessarily
Can you make
a
this equal
racing
100
rig. Actually, not necessarily. It isn't a racing rig, but it is a rig of
Our
sorts.
CES 2019 coverage is brought to you by Rebrand
It's,
Package. There is a
the
single
ultimate
SKU.
bachelor
It costs
chair.
$10,000.
It is
Whoa,
basically like
that
a
actually
lazy boy
isn't
for a
as crazy
gamer,
expensive
where
as you
everything
might
is
initially
attached
think.
to
And
it,
in
and at the
fact,
push
the
of a
first thing that
button,
both I
it's all
and
at your
Colton said when we
fingertips.
walked in, I was
So,
like, oh, that's it.
just
Because
think of
there
like
is
this
a
big
lot of stuff here. So first of all, you get
cockpit
yourself
type
a
deal
Predator or Orion
with an
desktop.
overhead
This is
piece
their
that houses
9000
your
desktop.
monitors,
It comes with,
and
it's a
you
pretty
push a
good spec,
button,
but not an
and this
over-the-top
overhead
spec.
piece comes
That's
down and
included
puts
in
your
the
monitor in
$10,000
place,
unit. You got
your keyboard
8700K.
tray
I
swings
believe it's 32 gigs of RAM. Does that sound about
in
right?
front of
You
you,
got your
and
512 gig
the
SSD, 2
footrests
terabyte
come
hard
up
drive.
and
What's
elevate
that?
your feet, and you can
64 gigs of
adjust
RAM.
it going
Who's
back
keeping
like you
track
would
at
a
this point?
lazy boy, so you can sit and
RTX
be all
2080 Ti,
comfy.
so very
This thing
capable
comes
gaming
equipped
machine.
with like
All right, you
2
get
cup
a full
holders,
set
so
of
you know you're
Acer
sitting there
Predator
for a
gaming
while because you're going to
peripherals,
get through 2
keyboard,
drinks
mouse,
before you got to get out.
you got your
Um,
headset, you got this special
it's
shaped
huge
mouse pad that
and
goes with this,
absolutely
arm that closes in on you.
ridiculous,
You
but
get 3
oh my
Acer
god,
Predator
I
gaming
mean,
monitors. So these
the only
are
thing I think this thing
27-inch,
doesn't have
144 hertz,
is a
2560 by
catheter.
1440 monitors. They're running in NVIDIA Surround, whatever NVIDIA's
It
calling
comes
it
with
these
the
days.
computer. And what's
And you
interesting is
get
this is provided by computer
this.
manufacturer Acer.
So Acer is
And
only
this is
selling
literally
this
a computer. So when you buy the computer,
with
you
what they're
get the
calling
chair,
white glove
the
service, which
cockpit,
is
the
to
monitors,
say
everything
that
that
when
goes
you
with
buy
it.
a Thronus, someone
So
will
basically
come
it's
to your
Alienware,
house,
right?
spend
So
probably upwards of 2
Yeah, it's Acer
hours
Predator.
assembling
Yeah.
it for
I
you
would
wherever
hate
it
to
is
see what
that
the
you
shipping
choose to
cost on
plunk
that
it
would be.
down. And by the way, you won't be
That's
able to get
white
it
glove
because it
service, so
weighs
that means they
well
come
over
and set it up
500
for you.
pounds, and you will be treated
that's
to
not bad, but I guess
just
it's
the
limited
most
then.
deluxe gaming chair that I have ever been in. It
And
will
Yeah, I
be
mean,
motorized.
this
the
thing is
look of
just-
it,
So the first thing you need
it
to
kind
do
of
is get
reminds
your
me of a
RGB
scorpion,
of the
where
pedals.
the
There's a little
monitors
lift, your
are up
outlines a little bit
above and they
higher.
kind of
So this
swing
is
down
it.
in front
You
of
are
your
immersed
face.
where I would
Guys
have
can't
seen
get
it.
enough of this. I love it.
You're
That
probably
recline
asking
back is
yourself
like
at
really
this
awesome
point,
though, like where you can sit back in the
why?
chair up on an
Why
Yeah, you
angle.
is
can
Acer
lay it
building
back.
this?
And
This is so
now,
far
Mason, and you
outside
and I
of
were
their typical
discussing
product
how
trend.
could
And
we
then
outfit
on the
this thing
front
for
of the
iRacing.
it's got their
Yeah, I mean, it looks like as long as you don't lean the chair back, you could have the pedals because there's already a tray there for your feet to have pedals on. And then the tray with your keyboard on it can be turned into a wheel stand, I suppose. I don't know if you could run a direct drive wheel on it. You might have to upgrade the table, but it folds in so you could get in and out and have your wheel right there, have your pedals, and be comfy and adjust your screens wherever you want it.
You've got your cup holders.
And,
It looks
There's a
awesome.
USB hub over
Well,
here. So
this
plug
would
in a
actually
thumb
work
drive or
well
whatever else
for,
it is you want.
you know,
You've got
you
a
could have
controller
various
pouch
static
down here that you
setups,
can
right?
keep your,
So, you know,
I don't
you're
know,
sitting
your-
a little bit more
come on, your
upright,
Xbox
you
game
know,
controller
running,
or whatever
you know,
else in.
NASCAR type cars and stuff like
I
that.
mean,
But then you get an F1, you
what
just
more
lean
could
her
you ask
back,
for?
and
This
yeah,
type
there's
of
some
thing is
good
sure to
possibilities for
impress the
that.
ladies.
Upside down if you're in rally.
And like I said, all of this for just $10,000.
Well,
And,
it's the eye candy.
including
I mean, when
coming to
this is
assemble
a
it
rig
for
that
you.
you're showing off to people,
Now,
really.
If you
I
guys
I really would love to
are
just try
anything
this rig
like
just
me,
to see what it would be like. Just even normal
you're
video
probably
gaming, it
asking
looks so
yourself at this
comfortable.
point,
And the
why?
guy was saying this is sure to impress the
Why is
ladies.
Acer building this?
Now,
This is so far
does
outside
it come
of
with
their
the neck
typical
pillow?
product
Because I
lineup.
think that you
And
have
the
to
best
have
answer that I
that.
could get, because unlike
That's pretty
what I would
pimp,
have
isn't it?
expected with
It's
a
still
product
missing a
like
stress
this,
ball.
where I would have seen a brand trying to make
Black velvet. And it's not a little pillow. It's like he's almost leaning forward because of it. It's funny.
They seem to be taking a very similar approach.
All
My
right, let's keep
question,
moving.
my question is though, why does it have two cup holders?
To do this kind of thing, as they would even on.
You got to double fist those beers, you know.
I thought I covered that, man. This thing is like locks you in. You're gonna be there for a while. You need 2 drinks.
So it needs to have a cooler or a fridge somewhere near.
Version 2.0.
All right, let's keep moving. Brent, NVIDIA supporting FreeSync monitors.
Yeah, NVIDIA recently came out with everybody was able to find a way around the FreeSync and G-Sync capabilities. It says they're bringing G-Sync to some, not all, some FreeSync monitors. So far, they only have there were 400 monitors that were tested. Of those 400 monitors that were tested, only about 200 have passed so far and are able to run this G-Sync and FreeSync capability.
Yeah, new driver updated on Monday. I just downloaded it. I was excited about this, but I realized that my Asus 27-inch monitors are not FreeSync compatible. To be FreeSync or G-Sync, you have to have a display port input, and if you're running on HDMI, sorry, no dice.
Yeah, so the monitors, there's a couple of them on here. They got the 12 listed, and they're Acer, Asus. There's a Aegon one, and a AOC one, and also one BenQ XL
now,
one.
That list is a little misleading. That's the list that they officially support, but my understanding is it actually works on all FreeSync monitors, but not to the degree where NVIDIA will, quote, license it as G-Sync.
Yeah, these are the ones that are listed on this picture here that do not have any stutters or any issues with it whatsoever that they could find.
But if you have a FreeSync monitor, or if you have a monitor that has DisplayPort inputs, and you run NVIDIA, then you need to update to the latest driver. You need to open the NVIDIA control panel and go to G-Sync and turn it on to get this feature to work. If you don't have the monitors, the setting won't be there in the control panel. All right, let's keep going. Greg, a Sim Chassis WR1.
So we got, bringing up here, Christopher Bell. So it's just loading here. Christopher Bell was testing the Sim Chassis WR1, and so a special World Rally 1, or WR1 edition, sorry. They, looks like
So it's a new edition of their cockpit that's named after Christopher Bell.
Yeah, so it looks like a tiny, it's got a small footprint. It's basically got a seat that's sitting
Really
up.
narrow.
Yeah, it's a non-motion one. And you basically are just in the normal driving position. It's got it's a basic looking rig. Looks like it's painted in the iRacing colors on the one here that he's testing it on. But there's not much to it. It looks like a comfortable seat. Not showing.
Look at the floor. It's got the iRacing logo on it. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, obviously that's probably got to do with his sponsorship too, right?
Well, what it is this company is fairly new. They've come out with this Christopher Bell Special Edition version of their cockpit that basically has got his racing colors on it, so it's got his iRacing sponsorship listed on it and whatnot. But they don't really have a website. They do have a Facebook page. It's called WR1 Sim Chassis, and you can go there and contact them about their rigs. As far as prices, they did put up a picture. Their rigs start at $5,050, $5,300, $5,700, and so on. Now, this is the whole thing, including the wheel, the speakers, the computer, the monitors, the seat, and so forth.
Does it say what brand of computer they're using?
HP
Oh,
Omen.
HP Omen. Okay.
They call it a race-ready setup.
It's not. It's pretty. It's. They got an even additional stuff here. They got like polished frame, powder coated, uh, got carbon inserts. So they got some stuff that you can add to it. But you know, is it really? I'm just looking at the pictures here. It's a pretty basic rig. Is it really worth, you know, upwards of $5,700?
Well, you got to, half of that could be a computer. So,
That's
but
true,
I
I
don't
guess.
know. Now, the last link shows they were actually at Chili Bowl. This is how I found out about them. Chili Bowl actually tweeted out pictures of what's going on at the racetrack, and one of those is their booth, WR1's Sim Chassis booth, where they have a couple cockpits set up, so that people could sit in them and check them out and even try them out.
I guess that they got a bunch of companies helping. MPI looks like they're in with it too, and Fanatic is so you got a bunch of companies all put together to put this whole thing
Yeah, you can see the
together.
MPI wheels behind the guy. And if you look closely, there's a midget next door, and there's a sponsor on the midget car.
WR1.
So pretty cool to see a rig company or a cockpit company, at Chili Bowl trying to drum up some business. And they got the special edition Christopher Bell one, which I really love. That's got the iRacing logo on the floor plate. That looks really cool.
They even have those could have been added stickers, but they do have on that one image there. They do have stickers on the back plate too.
Okay. Next one is mine, simukit.com. SIMUKIT.com is a foreign website. I think it's French, where you can get the parts or kits to build your own motion rig. And so I saw this mentioned on the forums. I think it's Belgium, maybe. But you could go to this website and actually order a 3DOF kit that you can do motion on, and you can buy this kit and you can figure out, you want to mount it to your own cockpit with your own seat kind of thing. And so the whole kit looks like it's 700 euros for a 3DOF 120 watt kit.
The way they have that chair attached to it looks very interesting in the one image here.
It's really kind of tall, right? And it's got like springs on it, and it's got all these levers and different things. It's very complicated.
Like it kind of, it's someone being able to get a kit out there for it. It looks like a nice kit, but it just reminds me of someone at home putting something together, their own stuff, right? It kind of like reminds me of like your own build of a rig where you're testing out all these parts and stuff. You got springs and stuff that are exposed. It just seems like home. It looks like it's very basic stuff.
I don't know. I just want to throw it out there in case people want to try to do it yourself. There are people that on the forums that have used this stuff successfully. So they just sell like the motors, and you can just buy like parts too. So
It's a good
all
thing
right,
to have.
Mason, you got the Axis One Y.
Yeah, this is a universal motion simulation platform found on DIYsim.com. It's made by Simcraft Motion Technology, and what it is it's basically a platform that you plop your stationary rig on, kind of like a playseat, Obutto. Maybe you have an 80/20 rig that doesn't have motion. So you put it on this flat platform that has four little like knob risers on it, and the platform goes left and right to simulate your loss of traction. So you can either get a 20-degree model or a 30-degree model, and it's between $2,500 and $3,000. So it's pretty cool.
It almost looks like it's got a pivot point in the center, and it kind of pivots around that when you look at the video.
So basically, it's got. If I'm looking at some of the pictures here, it's got some. Is that a wheel system underneath that moves it?
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's designed underneath, but yeah, it's definitely moving left to right, not up and down. The back and the front can go left to right, but they have to be opposite each other, obviously. But so it's a partial motion rig, but it's a good way to take a standalone stationary rig and make it motion.
Yeah, and they offer a lot of support. It seems they'll guide you through the process of mounting it to make sure your rig doesn't fly off.
And it's also it's a small footprint, so it's basically the size of a basic cockpit.
$2,500. And so, how I found this, I was reading about the new GS5 motion seat that we've been talking about, and some people are going to companion that with this. And so you put the two together to get like the ultimate package.
They just keep coming up with more and more ideas for these motion aid. Like, I would never have thought of like a mat to do it. Like, this is a new idea from all we've been looking at.
And with this idea, the monitors don't move, okay? So they have to be independent of this rig, and so you got to have a unique monitor setup, I think, to make this work.
Well, the video that's on the site, his monitors are attached to it.
Yeah, I guess it depends on your cockpit, I guess, right?
But it looks like they have a sturdy stand, and if you notice, there's these extra strut bars that are attached. It looks like that are attached to the outside monitors to hold them in place.
All right, Tony Groves, the Realtus Gaming Pad review.
Yeah, we actually talked about this a couple weeks ago. And well, I remember the video that they posted on their website really didn't give you a whole lot. Kind of showed you what it looked like, but aside from that, you didn't really get a whole lot out of it. So somebody put up a full-out review. I didn't look at it. I doubt I will, because it's like an hour long. I guess it's very thorough though. I personally wasn't impressed with this when we saw it. I didn't like the price. I didn't really care for the whole thing. And then I kind of got into reading some of the comments and stuff, like the feedback from the company, because there are problems with shipping, because this was like a pre-sale thing. And I don't know, maybe they got through it all. Maybe the thing is good. I'm still not going to watch this video. I got a real bad taste of it. So tell me what you think, because I'm not giving nothing.
I'll tell you what Barry thought. Barry is the guy who runs Sim Racing Garage YouTube page, and he's the one who did the hour-long review. And as usual, Barry does a wonderful job reviewing any kind of sim piecing equipment he gets his hands on. He took it apart. He showed us how it works. He showed us how it's designed. He showed us how to set it up. He shows the software. He shows how to configure it. He shows how to plug it in. I mean, the whole thing. If you want to know about this, this is a wonderful video. At the end of it, his conclusion is buy it. If you're interested, buy it. He said it's worth the money. That was his conclusion. I did watch through parts of it. I didn't watch the entire thing, but I did watch parts of it. And he was impressed with the performance, considering what he paid for it. For $189, you are getting more immersion with this. You can definitely feel it as he would go off the track on the left side. The left side would rumble against him, and when he went off on the right side would rumble on him, and so it was giving him stuff that he seemed to enjoy.
Oh, hey, that's good. I remember I put it into Canadian dollars, and it was over $250. And all I saw was this padded seat with some vibration things on it. So there you go. Don't listen to me. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Go watch this YouTube video. Find out all about it. Maybe it is for you.
Yeah, and I think Steve Thompson bought one. We haven't heard his impressions yet, but I'll try to find out what he thinks. Let's get into results. Roar before the 24, Mason.
Yeah, Chris Scales and Tony Rochette were running the Mustangs, and they were in the same split, I believe. Chris did not know where he finished, or he didn't write it down. Tony Rochette finished 17th in his class, which was 29th overall. He had 13X and lost some iRating, but he gained some safety rating. He did, unfortunately, hit the wall very hard exiting pit road and severely damaged the car. So I remember him saying he had a bunch of repair time. I was in the Miata in a different split, which was just exclusively Miatas, and I finished 17th with a whole bunch of X's, 35 to be exact, and it was all from off tracks and a few spins. I got a bit of damage going too wide in the bus stop, so it was definitely a good learning experience. It was hard to get back in the Ferrari after that, but it was fun running it.
All right. And then tell us about the OSRA event.
Yep, we were at Daytona 07 this week. I put the iRacers Lounge Chevy Silverado out there in the lead for a bit, and then promptly got passed, and then absolutely destroyed. I hit everything in the field because someone made a jerk reaction to a move outside on my outside and spun me in front of the entire field. So I finished 13th though, because everyone else was also destroyed. Tony Rochette ran too. Unfortunately, he hit my truck, and even though he didn't have any damage, it blew his engine under caution right after the wreck, so he finished 24th. But he gained
His
some
luck
stage
is horrible. All right, and Brett McCoy, Podium Esports.
Yeah, we don't. There's not a race this week for the Street Stock Series. There are the Elite Series going on for both the trucks and the oval car still, plus the Cars Esports Tour is going on. So for that, I don't have anything for the podium side for myself. Next race is next Wednesday, I believe, which is the 23rd. We will be on Twitch on the Podium Esports channel, so you can check in live for then if you want to watch that race. I also have the Major Series race coming up here, which is a league put on. They do a mixture between the road stuff and the oval stuff, and we have the Daytona 2.4. I'm doing that in the Ferrari, which I believe I'm going to qualify here in the next hour or two, and then I'm going to race the Sunday morning race for that. So looking forward to that on the 20th of this month.
Okay, very good. Well, let's jump into final thoughts. We'll start with you, Brent. Any other final thoughts?
Yeah, the days have finally come. All the practice is over basically for us in our Ferrari in the Daytona 24. We've got our time slot down. We've got the setup down, I believe, and I'm ready to get this started and ready to be done with it. So,
all right, let's get it. Greg Hectus, final thought.
Just looking forward to racing the 24-hour race. It'll be a good race with our team here. We had really good practice, and we showed some really good speed and some consistency. So I hope it translates into a good finish. And I'll be streaming it. I'll also be streaming every night that I do the Old Bastards Racing League, which I've been thoroughly enjoying in every time we get to go out on the track there. So if you want to follow me, once again, Frozen Cactus, or twitch.tv/Frozen Cactus, Frozen with 2 O's, Cactus with 2 K's. Check me out there, and we'll see you guys on the track.
Okay, Mason Stiver, final thought.
Yeah, I got a couple here. The first one is I'm curious to see how the NASCAR teams really get into the Peak Series and if that's speeding the new tire model along because they want that to happen. But other than that, I'm excited for the Daytona 24. I haven't ran it before, so I'll give it my best.
Aha, maybe the tire is tied to all that. We'll see. All right, Tony Gross, final thought.
Yeah, I throw out a huge shout out to the Old Bastards. The last couple of races, man, they have been top notch. They've been really, really good. I don't know, maybe it's me kind of smartening up, but I find the racing much better than the first few weeks. So that's awesome. And anybody wanting to to see what the old bastards are all about. I stream the races every Monday night. Follow me. Find me at Twitch. Username Sir Groves. I think I butchered that shameless plug enough, so that's it for me.
All right. My final thoughts is streaming. I've been trying to fix the streaming problem. I've been trying to stream lately to Facebook Live, and keep getting reports from viewers that it's really choppy and the frames per second looks really bad. And so I have this brand new computer. It's top of the line, everything. I shouldn't have these problems. And so spent a lot of today actually troubleshooting this, trying every different combination of settings and different things. And what I figured out is, as soon as iRacing loses focus, the problem goes away. But if I have focus on the sim, I have a frame problem on OBS, not in the sim. When you look up at OBS at the bottom, it says how many frames you're doing, and it goes down to like 15 or 20. And that's really the problem. But it only happens when I have my mouse clicked on the sim. Like if I take my mouse and go touch TeamSpeak, the problem goes away, and it goes up to 60 frames a second in OBS. But as soon as I click back to the sim, the problem comes back. And so anybody know anything about that? Let me know, because I am like beating my head against the wall. This computer should be able to handle it, and it's not. And so I'm thinking there's something else going on, but I can't figure it out. And so that's a little frustrating, but looking forward to NASCAR. Daytona 500 is coming up soon. This peak announcement with the teams, interested to see how it affects the iRacing teams that are involved. Are they going to be dissolved in some way? Will they still exist? How will it work? And that kind of thing. So lots of questions. I'm excited to get answers for. And with that, I guess we'll see you on the track later.
User in your channel stopped
All right, clear.
recording.
See you guys later.
Title ideas.
Thanks for watching.